For decades, Diddy's parties were seen as the ultimate Hollywood status symbol. Invite-only, ultra-exclusive, dripping with wealth and power. If you got in, you were somebody. But as trials, lawsuits, and accusations stack up, that glamorous image has collapsed fast. Now, the conversation isn't about champagne and celebrities. It's about what allegedly happened after the main party ended. While headlines stay locked on the courtroom drama, the most disturbing claims have flown under the radar until now. One man who says he was inside Diddy's inner circle has decided to finally speak out, and the rituals he describes paint a picture far darker than anyone expected. He used the word sacrifice because that's what it felt like to him. You know what I'm saying? Being in the dark for that long and then waking up out of my sleep to someone screaming, it felt wrong. And I felt violated, and I didn't ask for that. You know, I didn't ask to be hazed, but it was done. To me, it felt like, honestly, it felt like, something tried to take a soul or something. Once upon a time, Q was a rising star with the world in his hands. Young, talented, and hungry. After meeting Diddy, he believed his dreams were finally lining up. Fame, success, and validation were right there. But according to Q, being close to that level of power came with a price he never agreed to pay. In a recent interview, Q shared his story, pulling listeners directly into the mindset of a young artist navigating the industry's darker initiation culture. He says what happened to him wasn't a joke, wasn't harmless, and definitely wasn't normal. Q claims the night that changed everything started with an invitation to Diddy's Hamptons home. He thought he was attending a legendary party. What he didn't know was that he would allegedly be paying a hidden price for proximity to fame. To understand how it reached this point, you have to go back to the late 2000s. Being signed to Bad Boy Records wasn't just a contract, it was a golden ticket. Q was the breakout star from Making the Band 4, personally selected by Diddy to lead Day 26. At that time, Diddy was seen as the ultimate kingmaker. But
we're in the studio, and Puff's like, we're about to go to the Hamptons, and it was weird because we never really ate the night with them, So we get there, walk through the house, get to the backyard. I remember Dawn calling me over to her near the pool area, and she's like, oh, it's just 2 red pills. She was like, oh, this is ecstasy. And she was like, one's for you and one for me, and it's from Puff. So I'm like excited, but I was insisted that it was something that it really turned out to be something else. So I thought I was taking something, and I trusted my girl, because at the time, I take the pill, I took mine, I didn't see her take hers. I took mine, about 20 minutes later, I know we were chilling, I was in shorts now because we're in a jacuzzi. So we're in the jacuzzi, I get really, really, really hot. It was Puff in the jacuzzi, Cassie and Dawn and me, we were all just in the pool area. And I get really, really hot. I remember I started to panic all of a sudden and get paranoid. A pill turned out to be not ecstasy, it turned out to be a horse tranquilizer pill. Panicking in the mode. Next thing you know I know I was in shorts because I jumped in a pool. When I jumped in the pool, I don't remember nothing after that. All I know I remember is I woke up in the basement downstairs in the dark. So when I was down there, I don't know who brought me down there and who put on pants on me because I was in shorts. As you see, I wake up in the video screaming whatever out of my sleep. And you can say it's a joke, you could say it's a prank, you could say whatever the hell you want to say it is, looking at the video, but I didn't take it like that because I was in the dark for 7 hours. That video just shows them going downstairs checking on me. I got paranoid and really high and blanked out 7 hours earlier during the daytime. I felt set up because it just didn't feel right. And then I go and I say sacrificial. When I talk about sacrifice and all that stuff, to me, it felt like I was being harmed. And I use the word sacrifice because that's what it felt like. You know what I'm saying? Being in the dark for that long and then waking up out of my sleep to someone screaming. And then it looks like, I looked at the video, it looks like his hand went across my my private area and stuff. It just looked very, very, this looked weird to me, man. And it just felt wrong and I felt violated. And I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask to be hazed. I was the youngest one there. I was in that man's residence. And I feel like it was just all set up and fucked up, man. What it was done to me felt like You know, honestly, it felt like, you know, something trying to take my soul or something. I don't know, that's what it felt like. It just felt that ritual and demonic.
According to multiple former artists, that power dynamic came with control. Dreams were used as leverage. Artists lived in his homes, traveled under his rules, and were expected to fully submit to the system. Loyalty wasn't optional, it was demanded. Q says one night showed him how that system allegedly worked. At just 21 years old, he was still new to the industry's darker side. He believed gaining Diddy's approval meant leveling up. But in his words, success came with an industry test, what some call hazing, and what he described as something far worse. According to Q, when he arrived at the mansion, everything felt normal at first. Music, energy, and the usual party atmosphere. Then his girlfriend at the time, Dawn Richard, allegedly approached him near the pool area. We're in the studio, and you know, Puff's like, he's like, we're about to go to the Hamptons. We get there, walk through the house, get to the...
Puff stops in the Central Park, and we walk towards the boathouse. As we're going towards the boathouse, I look in the distance, and it's this man in all black. So when Puff gets directly to the dude, he gets down on his knees. When he gets down on his knees, this man takes something, and it seemed like it had smoke in it, and he started doing it around Puff. And then he went back and forth, and then he went up and down with it, sideways with it, then back around him. And then he put it down, and then he put his hand on Puff's head, and I guess he started, you know, saying something. I don't even really know what he said, but I couldn't tell what he said. You understand what I'm saying? I see Puff reach into this case, and when he reached into this case, he came out, and you could see something white in his hand. I didn't know it was a bird. I didn't know what it was at first, but he threw it up in the air. And when he threw it in the air, the came straight back down like it was a brick and said, "Bow" on the concrete. And I was like, oh, that was a dove, that was a bird. Puff just got up, looked at the dude, and just started walking towards me. And I was like, oh, and he's getting closer, and he's getting closer. As he's getting closer to me, in my mind, in my cynical mind, I'm just like this. I'm thinking about Jason, I'm thinking about Damien and all that shit like that. And that nigga just, he just walked past me. He didn't even say nothing like, "Come on, Gene, let's go." Or nothing. He just walked past me, and I just started walking with him. And I just said to myself, damn, that nigga's Damien. And we got to the car, and he didn't say nothing the whole ride.
The backyard. I remember Dawn calling me over to her near the pool area, and she's like, "Oh, is this 2 red pills?" She was like, "Oh, this is ecstasy. One's for you and one for me. And it's from Puff." Q says he accepted, believing it was meant to enhance the night. But what followed wasn't a party experience, it was a blackout. When he finally came to, 7 hours had passed. He says he woke up in a dark basement room, soaked in sweat, confused and shaken. According to Q, this went far beyond any hazing story he'd ever heard. He described it as a demonic ritual, saying he felt like something was taken from him that night. He claims it changed how he saw the industry forever, and with everything coming out now, many are asking the same question. If this is what one artist says happened behind closed doors, how many more stories are still waiting to be told? "So I thought I was taking something and I trusted my girl," Q explained. At the time, he says there was no reason to doubt her. He took the pill but noticed something strange right away. He never actually saw her take hers. About 20 minutes passed, and everything seemed normal at first. They were relaxing, wearing shorts, hanging out near the jacuzzi. It felt like a regular party moment. But then his body reacted in a way he couldn't control. "It was Puff in the jacuzzi, Cassie and Dawn and me," he said. Suddenly, Q felt overwhelmingly hot, not just uncomfortable, panic-level heat. His heart started racing, paranoia kicked in, and his instincts told him something was very wrong. That's when he realized the pill wasn't what he was told it was. According to Q, it wasn't ecstasy at all. He later believed it was something far stronger that caused him to spiral.
The effect that the pill did to me, it makes me forget some things sometimes. Because the pill turned out to be not ecstasy, it turned out to be a horse tranquilizer pill. And now I have to go to mental health every month and get a shot in my arm and shit like I told you earlier, because I dealt with trauma of someone trying to hurt me when I got home. I started thinking, I started hearing voices in my head from the effect of the horse tranquilizer pill. I started hearing voices in my head, and the voices were telling me that, you know, not to sound extreme, but that's what the voices said, that Puff was gonna kill me, or they were gonna kill me. You know, I thought everybody that were down there that laughed in that video were trying to hurt me, put me in a child's mentality, if I can say that. Yeah, it's crazy. It really broke me down to where I was hospitalized numerous of times. I would run out my house and like with screwdrivers and stuff, man, and like stab up the trees, bro. And I would be so scared because I would think someone was coming to harm me.
Fast. The next thing he remembers is jumping into the pool to cool off. After that, nothing. No memory, no sense of time, just blankness. When Q finally came to, he says 7 hours had passed. He woke up alone in a dark basement room, confused and shaken. He didn't know who brought him there or how he got dressed again. That alone terrified him. He says footage later showed people checking on him, but at the time he felt completely isolated. Being in the dark for that long broke something inside him. It didn't feel like a joke or a prank. It felt intentional. "You could say it's a joke. You could say it's a prank," Q said, "but I didn't take it like that because I was in the dark for like 7 hours. Q explained that when he uses the word sacrifice, he's describing how it felt emotionally. He said it felt like harm, not humor, like something was taken from him without consent. "You know what I'm saying? Being in the dark for that long and then waking up out of my sleep to someone screaming," he said. "It felt wrong, and I felt violated, and I didn't ask for that." He stressed that he was the youngest person there, alone in someone else's home, surrounded by power he couldn't challenge. That imbalance made the situation feel set up to him. Q admitted he doesn't fully understand what happened that night, but he knows how it made him feel. He described it as ritualistic and deeply unsettling, something that stayed with him long after the party ended. To him, this was the hidden price of fame. The part most artists are too scared to talk about because speaking up can end careers. He believes if he had gone along with it, higher doors might have opened, but because he didn't, he was quietly pushed aside. To some people, these claims sound unbelievable, but critics point out this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is the same industry where powerful figures have been accused of extreme behavior for decades. Others reference separate allegations involving intimidation, control, and exploitative environments tied to Diddy's circle, claims that paint a troubling pattern, not an isolated incident. And Q isn't the only one to describe strange experiences. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, has publicly shared a story he says he witnessed himself. According to Deal, during Diddy's 1999 legal battle, he saw what he believed was a ritual in Central Park. He described a man dressed in black performing actions around Diddy, speaking words Deal couldn't understand. He claims Diddy removed something white from a case and threw it into the air, where it came back down moments later. Deal says he didn't realize what it was at first, but the moment never left him. Taken together, these stories raise a chilling question. If even a fraction of these accounts are true, what was really happening behind the scenes? And how many others were too afraid to speak up? He said the object hit the ground like a brick, loud and sudden. At first, he didn't even understand what he had just seen. Then it clicked. It was a bird. That moment froze him in place. He watched Diddy stand up, look at the man dressed in black, and start walking away without saying a word. As Diddy walked closer, Gene says his mind started racing. He thought about dark imagery, old stories, and symbols he'd heard about before. Then Diddy walked right past him, silent, unreadable. They got into the car, and the silence never broke. No explanation, no reaction, nothing. Gene said that moment stayed with him because it didn't feel random. It felt deliberate. What makes this even more unsettling to some observers is the timeline. At the time, Diddy was dating Jennifer Lopez, who was later accused by an ex of engaging in similar unusual practices. These are allegations, but when people connect the dots, the picture grows darker. Critics argue this wasn't chaotic behavior. It was structured. They believe it was part of a grooming system within the industry. Control, fear, and silence working together. Then there's the case of producer Lil Rod, who worked closely with Diddy on a recent project. His account mirrors Q's in disturbing ways. He described waking up disoriented, confused, and unable to remember how he got there. Lil Rod explicitly said he felt groomed. He claimed he was told this behavior was normal in the industry and that success required acceptance. Those statements remain allegations, but they echo other accounts. "Some days I woke up and he was there," Lil Rod said. "Other days I didn't understand what had happened." He said he later realized he may have been repeatedly impaired during those moments. When Q's and Lil Rod's stories are placed side by side, critics say a pattern emerges. Not random events, but repeated power dynamics, dominance, control, and psychological pressure. Experts point out this isn't about orientation or personal choices, it's about power. Removing autonomy is a classic method of control. When someone's identity is shaken, obedience becomes easier. According to this theory, the goal isn't just compliance, it's silence. Once someone feels broken, they're less likely to speak out. The most heartbreaking part of Q's testimony isn't the night itself, it's what followed. He described long-term psychological effects that changed his life completely. Q said the substance he took wasn't what he was told. He believes it caused lasting trauma. He described needing ongoing mental health treatment just to stay grounded. "The effects stayed with me," Q explained. He said he began hearing voices and living in constant fear. He believed people were trying to harm him, even long after he returned home. He described being hospitalized multiple times and struggling to separate reality from fear. These were his experiences, told in his own words. To mental health professionals, this kind of breakdown is consistent with severe trauma. In industries built on secrecy and pressure, psychological collapse is not uncommon. Q said it felt like something inside him was taken. Not physically, but spiritually and emotionally. He described fighting every day just to feel normal again. This is what critics call the hidden price of fame. Not money, not contracts, but identity erosion. It's about reshaping people until they fit the system. And when someone refuses to be reshaped, the consequences can be devastating. From Q's 7 Hours in Darkness to Gene Deal's account in the park, these stories are forcing uncomfortable conversations into the open. Whether you believe these allegations involve ritual behavior or simply predatory power structures, the similarities are impossible for many to ignore. Q survived, but he says the scars remain. His story stands as a warning to anyone chasing fame without understanding the cost. Because sometimes the lottery of success doesn't pay in money, it collects in silence, fear, and pieces of who you used to be.